It's 8 a.m. at Kashakon Nursery School. Children hurrying to class means learning is about to start. Their little feet stomp on the scorching ground. It's a hot, sunny day. Even though they have to go to school barefoot, they're among the lucky few, learning in what is known to the residents here as a modern classroom. On one side of this classroom, the little ones are learning their ABCs. And on the other side of the classroom, Standard 1 pupils have their own lessons in session. It's a normal classroom situation in this school. You see, both teachers, Jacob Riwa and Michael Korira, have had to devise their ways of ensuring children from both classrooms under one roof complete their learning.
It cannot be possible to teach in one room. So now it is better even they could have been different classes. Yeah, so that the children, they will understand, they will hear, and then to the teacher. Yeah, so that they may learn best.
Wakati tulianza hapa shule tulikuta kama hakuna madarasa. Hata hao wa class 1 walikuwa nasomea hapo chini. Sasa wakati wadi ya county walitujengea hii tukaamua tu sababu watoto ni wengi na makifuli hakuna, tukaamua tu tufundishe kwa darasa moja. Huwa kila siku hata atufunzake kwa nini mwingine akija ndani mwingine anaenda nje kidogo.
But there are times that the innovation just doesn't work. And children have to strain to hear their respective teachers or just choose which side to learn from. And there's another familiar voice in the classroom. It's making learning even more difficult, if not impossible, for 6-year-old Chepogon Gurako. She has to juggle caring for her 6-month-old sister and lending an ear to the teacher. Most often than not, her sister takes precedence. We arrived at Kashakon in the middle of a malaria outbreak in Baringo County. The evidence of children too weak to learn, struggling to finish their day in school. As the nursery and class 1 pupils get their learning underway, Standard 2 pupils of Kashakon Primary are learning differently. The importance of a tree in Tiati, Baringo County, cannot be underestimated, especially for Standard 2 pupils of Kashakon Primary School here in Tiati. Under this tree, they are able to learn more from their teacher. In the same compound, 2 classes are sharing a classroom, kindergarten and class 1. How they do it, it's only the teachers that understand. The presence of this tree giving meaning to their education.
Nyanya. 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 The pupils might not concentrate, especially when they see some guests passing around. Or those who are looking after the animals, they might see them and then they will not concentrate. Even if you talk in front, they will not concentrate. And then another one, some animals like this hare or rabbits, they can pass here. And then now they'll start chasing them, leaving you in class. They can chase even for almost 10 minutes, and then they will come back.
Kashakon Primary School is a few years old. It was built by a community development fund after the residents moved here.
We have some classes filled by our former MP, who is Asman Gamama. He gave us some amount, CTF, for CTF. Yeah. So at first, we had no structure in the school. When I came here on 2014, we had no structure completely.
The nursery block was built by the county government.
The government is doing something to construct more classrooms to accommodate those who are still studying under trees. Initially, before ECD was devolved, these ECDs were under primary schools, and that made a problem of infrastructure. But when these ECDs were devolved, those are just 4 years down the line, we managed to put up 444 classrooms.
Sadly, this is the situation in other schools of Tiaty, Baringo County. At Parker Hills Primary School, it's not different. Children in nursery and primary schools are used to learning in the open air and have to persevere bad weather and occasional intrusion by wild animals.
Sasa zile wanacheza na make sure wasiingie msitu kama hapa hivi, na make sure wameenda mahali vile ni kama hapo wanachezea hapo. Sasa wakiingia hapo na watoa. Na maybe saa nyingine mbuzi inakuja ama umbwa. Saa hizi tulikuwa tunafugusa moja. Ilikuwa imefuata hawa. Sasa tukatoa. Lakini sasa kuna tu hizi kama scorpions, mara saa nyingine inawauma. Wakishika kwanza kwa mamawe kama hizo.
Dest. Mawe. Hata watoto ukiangalia kiraka imeoka kila mahali. Sababu ya mawe.
The parents cannot afford to build classrooms. Teachers have had to improvise and make some space for a staff room.
Hatuna darasa. Tuna darasa pale mnaona. Tulichengewa na CDF kwa pesa kidogo ambaye tulipewa na tumepata kujengewa hiyo darasa. Room ingine tumebadilisha kuwa store na ofisi.
Away from all the challenges faced by the young learners, teachers have had their own share of hardships. Jacob, the ECD teacher at Kashakon Primary School, has been teaching nursery schools in Tiaty for more than 20 years.
Nilianza kufunza preschool 1987. Nikaenda course Keyo mara kwa tite. Nikamaliza 89. Alafu nikaanza kufunza nursery kwa upande wa Tangul Bay. I was living at Tangul Bay. So nikaendelea na watoto namna hiyo, kalipwa na county council. Kwa period kidogo tu, karibu 3 years. Nilikuwa nasika, nilianza 500, nikaendelea namna hiyo mpaka nikawa 3000. Then wakasimamisha sisi Baringo msema ama Kenya sijui. Alafu sasa nikakaa tu kidogo kwa sababu nilikuwa nimesomea jinsi ya kufunza watoto. Wananchi pia hawakuniacha. Kasema tu sasa kuja saidia sisi.
He has been the only ECD teacher around and the one that started the school. Sadly, his experience doesn't match his earnings. What keeps him going is his passion for teaching the young ones.
Nalipa sisi pesa kidogo sana. Sijui the total money ni 7,000. Alafu nakatakata tu ile tu mpaka ikabaki tu kama 6,000.
Now that we don't have a scheme service for ECD teachers, we are employing under contractor terms, and we are paying between 8,000 to 10,000 per month.
At 1 o'clock sharp, lunch is served at the Kashakon Primary School kitchen. Nursery and Class 1 pupils are first to queue for a plate of the day's meal. It's a mash of rice and green grams, we are told. Chepogon will finally get something to soothe her crying sister. She's here with her other sibling, a 2-year-old. While her classmates group with one another to have their lunch, she has to stick to her siblings. She must ensure her sisters properly fed. It's their only meal of the day. It's an uphill task for Chepogon, but she manages to feed the baby, one little portion after the other. It's not strange for children to attend school with their baby sisters and brothers, especially at a time like this, when famine had caused many households to send all their children to school for the free meal offered at lunch.
Area yote hii hakuna naona watu hawana chakula sana. Tena pengine problem ya nyumbani. Sasa huyo kama nakuja sangida mama ya nyumbani naenda kutafuta kitu ya kukula. Sasa hakuna yaya. Na mtoto nataka kusoma. Mwenye ameseka huyo. Ndio naambia tu aende usike kanto hapo mtoto kichunga.
Even though the school feeding program fends for the primary school children, the school has had to share with the nursery class, which is attended by under-8 children that should be playing at home.
Some parents prefer the young ones to be taken to school, so that at least at lunch time they will get something.
Lunch lasts an hour and the journey home for the 3 siblings begins. Their home is 2 kilometers away. The distance is not far for the siblings who are used to this daily walk. Halfway into their journey, we meet their mother, 28-year-old Chaposetem Gurako, was worried that her children had taken too long to get home. She tells us she was not feeling well today and someone had to look after the baby. Chapositem lives with her husband and their 3 children. She says the older girl always takes care of her siblings while she and her husband go to work.
Totally ana chochote. So inambidi hata akienda makaa na akose makaa atakuwa na matumaini ile mtoto ameenda shule, at least atakula, hata akilala bure atakuwa amepata hata ile lunch ya mchana.
They have to do that to ensure they have at least a meal a day. Many families had been affected by drought, making meals rare and children malnourished. The only hope for many children here has been the school feeding programs.
During the weekends, up to Monday, children, even at assembly, they are very weak. They cannot even sing. Some of them, these young ones, you see, this is a problem from the home. But yeah, because for that 2 days, yeah, that 2 days that they stay at home. Yeah, you see them from Monday, tomorrow like Tuesday, you will see them, they will be happy, very strong. They can even sing strongly.
With malnutrition rates in Baringo County being at 25%. The beautiful but rough terrain that makes Tiati district in Baringo County guides us back to Kashakon Primary School. Today, not all nursery children have come to school. Most children under 8 years of age have accompanied their parents to the local dispensary. The dispensary is 10 kilometers away. Long queues usher us. Women and children have come to receive fortified porridge flour. But first they have to be registered. The flour was donated by World Food Program and local organizations. Aims to supplement children's diet.
Hii uji ya sahi ndio mimi naonelea imesaidia pakubwa. Kwa sababu hata ile ugonjwa kumbe njaa ileta ugonjwa pia. Ugonjwa ni kama imereduce ya watoto. Imereduce kwa sababu ya chakula hii ya uji. Hii uji imefanya wale watoto ulikuwa unaona hata kusimama, unaona mtoto ako na health, Though hata kama ana nguo na ile umaskini hapa ndii, unaona health yake sababu ya hii uji iko sawa.
On a day like this, children in this area have missed school. The parents have brought them here to receive relief food and especially flour for porridge that they say has reduced the malnutrition rates. This is a program that would last for only 2 months. The program attracts hundreds of women and children who are the beneficiaries of the special flour.
The elderly come, especially those who think that the food is for relief. But because we are targeting a specific number of specific beneficiaries, they come, especially those who are small kids in their home, those that are staying with, those are the ones they bring. But they are not beneficiaries. The grandmas and the grandpas are not beneficiaries.
Sasa hiyo uji vile tukipeleka huko nyumbani, tunaenda kupikia watoto, tunaona watoto wako na atmosphere mzuri. Yaani mtoto anakuwa na afya mzuri na sasa tumefurahia hii uji.
One by one, women leave the compound assured of a meal for their little ones. On one of the queues, we meet Chepogon and her family. Her mother, Chepo Setem, has brought the children to receive her packets of flour. She's lucky. Many of the women are forced to go home empty-handed. The packets of flour were not enough for all.
There have been quite a lot of cases of malnutrition. Reasons being there's been long drought spell.
We have developed a policy on school feeding program, and we are now at the draft stage. As soon as that policy is ready and operational, I think as a government we shall come in and address the issue of malnutrition in these affected areas.
It's a tough place to go to school. The drought makes learning even harder. But for many school-going children here, the biggest challenge has been the sporadic clashes. Tribal clashes between neighboring communities have disrupted the school year and affected many children. Ruben Terotich, the head teacher at Kashakon School, knows this all too well. He says the school has only 2 teachers employed by the government. Most teachers have had to move from the school whenever the clashes flare up. The school bears witness to all this.
There were 2 politicians who were killed at Marigat.
Okay.
That was MCA plus an aspirant, an MP aspirant. So when they were killed, everybody who was a non-local fled.
They don't come from the same community as the residents around them, exposing them to danger anytime there are clashes. The school was closed for a year, and now that the situation is better, they hope there'll be no other incidents that will disrupt education. Selwa Lukenu is getting ready for her work. She has to make a cup of tea for her family before leaving home. She's one of the 700 internally displaced persons from Mukutani area. She walks to her classroom with eager children waiting for her. Selwa is an ECD teacher who has had to move to a camp when their village was attacked by a rival community following the killing of a member of county assembly and a parliamentary candidate in 2017. In the attacks, she lost some of her baby class pupils. A number of parents were also killed. This prompted them to move here at Eldume area. As the only teacher that was from this community, she has had to merge lower primary and nursery class into one so as not to leave any child out. There is no structure here, but they have each other and some peace.
Tulikuwa na madarasa 3 kwa sababu tuko na baby class, middle class and top class. Lakini venye tulikuja watoto wengi wa middle walikuwa wametoka side ile. Tukakuja na wachache sana. Sisi tukawakutanisha na watop. Sasa saa tuko na baby and top class. Na wote tunawafundishia kwa darasa moja kwa sababu ya shida ya darasa.
The attacks on the villagers has left children with deep trauma, especially those who lost parents and siblings.
We are very afraid. Even when we are at class, sometimes a child can just, they cannot concentrate. When I try to tell them what is the problem, some can tell me that we fear Pokot or we fear the risasi. Because during that day, the risasi was so, walifetua risasi mingi sana. Mpaka hata mtoto anasaka tu na kustuka.
2 teachers were killed in the attack, making it hard for teachers like Selwa to want to go back home.
Sisi tulikimbilia shule na tukaingia kwa darasa ambaye kaunti alikuwa wamejenga ya watoto wa nasari. Huko ndio tuliingia. Na wenye waliuawa walikuwa kwa kanisa. Sasa walipatikana tu kwa kanisa kwa sababu kanisa ilipigwa risasi ikabomolewa na wakachinjiwa huko kwa kanisa ndani. Wengine walipigwa risasi. Hata mama wengine wanapigwa risasi alafu wanapasuliwa tumbo wenye walikuwa wajawazito. Saa hii sioni kama tukiambia watoto turudi mkutani, sioni kama tena unajua hawa watu walishikiwa huko karibu na shule. Sasa tukipita huko tu hata mwingine anaweza jua tu mama yangu aliuawa hapo huko ama dada yangu ama ndugu yangu. Sasa ningeomba ya kwamba tusaidiwe ili mahali tutasomea iwe ni mahali ambayo ina usalama ya kutosha.
Tulikuwa tunajaribu kupata mikakati kadha wa kadha, especially tuko na peace forum meetings. Like even yesterday tulikuwa na wale majirani ambao tulisosana, we had the leaders, tuko na government officials, tunajaribu kuongea, lakini bado ilikuwa ni mwanzo tu. Lakini tunaona pahali tunajaribu kufikia na kuongelesha watu, wajaribu at least kufikiria mambo ya kurudi. Lakini kwa sasa mkutano tumepata karibu 2-3 na tunaona kuna dalili ya kuona kama tutapata kuafikiana na wale wenzetu, then tutapata kurudi.
The camp that had over 700 people has since been closed, and the families have gone back to Mukutani, hoping to be accepted by their neighbors. In 2017 alone, 37 schools were closed and school facilities were looted. 148 teachers fled in Tiati. 37 schools were affected in Baringo North. Learning was disrupted and facilities looted. Facilities were also used at temporary IDP camps. In Tiati, East Pokot sub-county, 148 teachers have left. In Marigat, 2 schools were closed down, Nasokor, Ngelechan and Kapindasan. 1 teacher was killed. Mukutani Primary School lost 2 children and a teacher, leaving 198 pupils without a school. 138 children below the age of 5 were displaced.
We fear of that maybe there will be some revenge or what. Okay. We just fear for your life.
The national government has really done a lot, at least to address this situation. There are a lot of security personnel on the ground in case there are problems where animals are stolen. You know, these students are affected because their parents will have to be evicted, okay, to the safer places. So because of that, we find that this ECD people really get affected because they need to be displaced from their areas, and the government is really addressing about this issue.
These challenges have taken a toll on education and the well-being of young ones like Chepogon Ngurako, whose future depends on whether the situation in her village will change for the better anytime soon, a thought she can only hope for. Agnes Penda, KTN News.